What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of TheLead Houston, where it's all Houston all the time. Today, I am going to be trying to give you as much of a recap as possible. It is about 7 o'clock, and we're about to see the Houston Texans' entire free agency. And wow, what a day it was so far. Now, there could be some more signings that happen. This is just a pre-recorded video, so if I miss anything between now and editing, then I apologize. But we all know this was a shocker, but ultimately the Texans community is not necessarily unhappy. I'm talking about the big trade that happened today for the Houston Texans. Laramie Tunsil is traded and no longer a Houston Texan. He is traded to the Washington Commanders. The Houston Texans receive a third-round pick this year, a seventh-round pick this year. They send their fourth-round pick, but they receive a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick next year. So the Houston Texans now have 4 picks to play with inside the top 100. We'll do a mock draft video in just another few days. But the Laramie Tunsil trade sent some shockwaves through the Texans community. And again, like I mentioned, the fans aren't necessarily unhappy. Like, this move felt kind of necessary, I would say. It's a shocking move, yes, but it is not surprising to the fans that have been calling for Laramie Tunsil's job for the previous years. When you take a look at him, ultimately, Laramie Tunsil is a damn good pass protecting left tackle, one of the best in football and paid handsomely. But there's a big but when it comes to Laramie Tunsil, and that but is the intangibles. When you take a look at some of the adjectives that were described for the poor offensive line play, you had Cecil Shorts talked about it and said that they were lazy. You've had numerous media members and YouTube content creators and Texans Twitter guys all collectively saying that the offensive line is lazy, slow, they don't swarm, they're not tough. There's no tenacity when it came to this offensive line. And yes, they traded away their best one in Laramie Tunsil, but ultimately all of those negative adjectives directly fall on the leader. And when that leader, Laramie Tunsil, was presented from the media members here in Houston after a tough game, after a tough loss, Laramie Tunsil had the opportunity to fall on the sword, and he didn't. Now, as we all know, Laramie Tunsil, guy that had 5 penalties going all the way back to the Minnesota horrible Vikings game. We had 5 penalties alone in just the first half. Laramie Tunsil was a big problem when it came to that perspective as well. So there are reasons as to why Texans fans are not entirely in love with Laramie Tunsil. Now, moving on, the Houston Texans had the rest of their day with free agency. I'm going to end the Laramie Tunsil talk, and I'm going to get into a few signings, and then I'll tell you which guy I ultimately believe is the best signing of the day for the Houston Texans so far. Let's get into it. The first one we had this morning, the Houston Texans brought back Sheldon Rankins. If anybody missed the video, it is down on my YouTube channel. Go ahead and check the link down there in the description. I have the link right there, or you can just scroll and look for his thumbnail because his picture is right there. The Houston Texans brought back Sheldon Rankins, 1 year, $7 million deal. Not necessarily anything I was crazy about. I think this is a solid return for Sheldon Rankins back to Houston. He was dealing with some stuff with the Cincinnati Bengals personally, ended up not playing for the rest of the year, and just didn't equate up to that 2-year contract that they gave him. And back then, the Houston Texans were bidding with the Cincinnati Bengals and wanted him back. There were players on this team that wanted Sheldon Rankins back and looked at Sheldon Rankins as another veteran defensive lineman that was super helpful for the development of a lot of the young guys. Will Anderson was one of them, and the nickname for Sheldon Rankins was Rank, Big Rank, So I am sure that D'Amico Ryans and the Texans were very happy to see the Bengals cut him, and they immediately grabbed him right away. Then moving forward, the Texans brought in Braxton Berrios, wide receiver from the New York Jets, formerly with the Miami Dolphins. I think a big thing when it comes to Braxton Berrios is he has a connection to Mike LaFleur and Mike McDaniels. Both of them guys are Shanahan Kubiak scheme guys. So Braxton Berrios is going to know this scheme very well. Mike LaFleur, who is currently with the LA Rams scheme working under Sean McVay, you just grab Nick Caley from the LA Rams scheme. So right there, you're going, okay, Braxton Berrios is going to know the diction, the verbiage of this offense. And then what's more helpful, yes, he's 29. Yes, he's coming off a torn ACL from October. Should be ready to go day one of the regular season if he makes the team. But what is super helpful is the versatility he brings. Yes, that V word is back, ladies and gentlemen, and the Texans love it because he can play special teams. He was an All-Pro in 2021 as a kick returner, punt returner specialist, and that is just music to the ears of one guy and one guy only, and that is Frank Ross. So I love to hear that Frank Ross got himself a guy, but not only did he get himself Braxton Berrios to help on special teams and be a heavy slot wide receiver guy, eyeing John Mechie's future here in Houston, they grabbed themselves another special teams dynamo, Tremon Smith, formerly with the Denver Broncos, formerly with the Houston Texans, 2 years up to $7.5 million on the deal. A great signing, I believe, for the Texans. They get themselves two guys that are known special teams guys. Tremon Smith is that dude. And again, versatility plays a factor here. He can also return punts, kickoffs. Tremon Smith has done it and been there, done that. And yes, that is him returning a return for a touchdown in a Houston Texans uniform. So really like that move, actually. The Texans get themselves two special teams guys, and happy for Frank Ross, man. Always love my guy Frank Ross to get some improvements. And then moving on, the Houston Texans also had made a move. They re-signed Derek Barnett, which obviously we were all hoping that he would bring back. The guy was a touchdown machine, really good defensively. Then you had him along with Darrell Taylor. Darrell Taylor is one of the signings from the Seattle Seahawks and the Chicago Bears. So Darrell Taylor did his thing and had in 2022 9.5 sacks. Darrell Taylor is a sneaky good signing. And as AD said, our friend from Texans Round Table and YouTube host of the Htown Rundown, Darrell Taylor was that guy that could be replacing a old man in Jerry Hughes. He's going to be a part of the rotation. The defensive line improved a hell of a lot today. And my goodness, a strength of this team just got stronger. And you still haven't re-signed some of the interior defensive guys as well across the line. So the Houston Texans do all of that. They ended so far Justin Watson, wide receiver, formerly from the Kansas City Chiefs. Excuse me. Was it the Tampa Bay Bucks as well? It was the Chiefs and the Bucks. I was right. So Justin Watson, nobody to go crazy about. Just another low-end, low-risk receiver. 1 year, $2 million. Nothing to go crazy about, like I said. I just think competition, though, because he's an outside receiver, and when you're looking at competition, you're going, what do you mean? He's not eyeing Nico Collins' job. He's kind of eyeing Xavier Hutchinson's job, and he plays some decent football for the Kansas City Chiefs. Who knows if he makes the roster, but The Texans grabbed themselves a pair of wide receivers already on this market. They traded for Christian Kirk. There's a lot to grasp there, and seeing now that you got Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, Justin Watson, Braxton Berrios, John Mechie, Xavier Hutchinson, Robert Woods is gone. Like, I would say he is no longer going to be coming back for the Houston Texans. So right now, the wide receiver group, not so bad. And ultimately, in conclusion, when I'm taking a look at all of these guys in free agency, the Houston Texans, I think their best signing so far, and we haven't had any news since I've been recording this episode, but so far, I think the best signing, and this is going to sound crazy, the best signing to me is Darrell Taylor.
What's going to happen tonight? What's going to happen?
Go whoop they fucking ass.
Darrell Taylor is 27 years old. He is a young defensive end that embodies the swarm mentality that DeMeco Ryans wants to place here with the Houston Texans. Darrell Taylor is that dude. He is a young individual that, to me, when given the opportunity, he can create havoc. And him in a rotation with Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, Danico Autry, Derek Barnett, that rotation at the edge is going to be nuts. Darrell Taylor will immediately be a Texans fan favorite. He's just got to get his time on the field. I think that is the best signing so far for the Houston Texans. Y'all let me know, who do you like the most in terms of signings? What are your thoughts on the Laramie Tunsil trade? Y'all let me know down in the comment section. You know I'll reply. As always, guys, go Astros, go Rockets, go Texans. You have a blessed day.